Well, on the last edition of Snarl, we discovered the reason behind the secret meetings with Ted DiBiase, JBL, and Hangman Tex Lynch when we saw Money Incorporated V.2 appear for the first time to battle the sectarians. And we got a special treat tonight as JBL, John Bradshaw Layfield, and the $1 Million Man appear here tonight on Rage, facing AJ Hawk and Boston Connor of the Toxic Table with Hangman Tex Lynch at ringside.
Dag Myron, you just love playing with those Toxic Table guys.
It's a thing.
This next tag team match is scheduled for one fall with a 20-minute time limit. Approaching the ring, both from parts unknown, combined weight, also unknown, AJ Hawk and Boston Connor, the Toxic Table.
Time for Timu Sammartino and the Hamburglar. The Toxic Table, Boston Connor, and AJ Hawk. Hey, they keep signing the matches. I'm going to keep making the deals. Most certainly, Boston Connor and AJ Hawk have provided a great deal of entertainment to RWL fans as they are subjected week after week to matches that are near impossible. And they always make them feel big by saying, well, Boston defeated the big boss man in his debut match. I mean, that's a big deal, isn't it?
And, somehow, they never seem to realize they're getting hooked by you, huh? Definitely not the sharpest tools in the shed. And you just keep on sticking it to them.
I'm not sticking anything to them. I'm giving them exactly what they want. They want good matches. I give it to them. They just don't win.
Their opponents, led to the ring by Snarl General Manager Hangman Tex Lynch, at a combined weight of 456 pounds, the team of the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase and John Bradshaw Layfield, Money Incorporated V.2.
Hangman Tex Lynch becoming something of a master at the art of the deal. How do you assemble JBL and the $1 Million Man and yourself, a Memphis Million winner, as Money Incorporated V.2? It doesn't matter. Somehow this seems to work out. And wow, this team already defeated Papa Shango the Boogeyman, and I don't think they're going to be defeated this evening by the Toxic Table. Donnie, they got a better shot at hitting the lottery and being struck by lightning on the same day.
Bet. Put my money on Texas team.
The Toxic Table, set to face Money Incorporated version 2 with AJ Hawk and the $1 Million Man, starting off this particular tag team matchup. Referee Walt Rothburn sounds the bell. They come center ring. DiBiase opens up with a right, gets a hold of AJ Hawk, vertical suplex, and the $1 Million Man follows up with a stomp to the head. Ted DiBiase gathers up AJ Hawk, gets a hold of him, whips him to his team's corner, and headlock punch. Drives AJ Hawk out of the corner, a double axe handle, takes him down to the canvas, and the $1 Million Man going for an early pin 1, and just barely a 1. Ted DiBiase, deftly leaping over AJ Hawk, takes himself all the way up to the top turnbuckle in the far corner. Awaiting AJ Hawk to reach a standing position here, and whoa! A diving elbow to a standing AJ Hawk takes him down to the canvas. The $1 Million Man whips him back to, JBL with a cheap shot. Leaves AJ Hawk in the corner. He finds his way out quickly. Gets a hold of Ted DiBiase. Hard whip to his team's corner, the Toxic Table's corner. And just yanking on the arm of the $1 Million Man. AJ Hawk slams DiBiase's head into the turnbuckle. AJ Hawk driving shoulders into the midsection of the $1 Million Man. And now putting all his weight into those stomps on the chest of Ted DiBiase. AJ Hawk rounds him up again. Whips him right back into the corner a second time. Here comes Boston Connor on the tag. And here's a double team, a double X handle across the arm of Ted DiBiase. DiBiase gets a Hurricane Rana from Boston Connor. Boston Connor believing he's got this one firmly under control. DiBiase making his way to the corner, tags in JBL, while Boston Connor is showboating. Boston Connor with a Russian leg sweep on John Bradshaw Layfield. Layfield catching a stretching from an armbar. Boston Connor going after the $1 million man as well. Takes himself to the outside. Out onto the apron, smashes DiBiase into the lip of the apron. Hangman Tex Lynch watching his team very intently. JBL whips Boston Connor to the ropes, ducks under, makes the leapfrog. Here he comes again, and whoa, back body drop for Boston Connor. Boston Connor gathered up by JBL, and a spine buster, a one-arm spine buster from John Bradshaw Layfield. Makes his way to the top turnbuckle in the far corner. Here we go. Oh, drives a knee right into the head of Boston Connor. Covers, hooks the leg. One, but oh, AJ Hawk right there to break that pin up. Boston Connor being worked on by John Bradshaw Layfield. JBL working on the arm of Boston Connor. And Boston Connor getting his head beaten into the canvas by JBL. Followed up with a stomp to the midsection. A wind-up elbow right to the back of the head of Boston Connor. He rolls out to the floor, and JBL takes out AJ Hawk as well. Both members of the Toxic Table in big trouble. JBL drops an elbow from 10 feet up off the top turnbuckle on AJ Hawk. Turns his attention to Boston Connor. Slams his head down to the floor. Connor back up with a wraparound DDT on John Bradshaw Layfield. Layfield makes his way towards... Oh! Well, down goes AJ Hawk again. JBL working on both members of the Toxic Table as Boston Connor goes after the $1 million man here. Goes back out to the outside apron again. And once more slams DiBiase into the lip of the apron. Hangman Tex Lynch backing off. He's not going to get directly involved. He's going to let these guys do what they have to do. JBL smashes Boston Connor's head into the turnbuckle. A series of hard right hands from John Bradshaw Layfield. And an alley-oop out of the corner for Boston Connor. JBL. A little display of arrogance of his own as AJ Hawk comes in. A clothesline takes JBL down to the canvas. AJ Hawk opens up with a series of shots. A hard punch to the midsection. JBL whipped to the ropes. AJ Hawk misses with the clothesline. JBL gets a hold of him. Slams his back into the turnbuckle and hurls him towards center ring. John Bradshaw Layfield going to work on AJ Hawk. He decides to take it out of here and turns it over to the $1 million man on the tag, Ted DiBiase. Whoa! AJ Hawk just shoving him away, and he flew. Here's a cover. One. Only just the one, the $1 million man, powering out of that pin easily. AJ Hawk with a moonsault headbutt. How about this right here? AJ Hawk with a modicum of talent, obviously, but probably not enough to deal with Money Incorporated V.2. Here comes JBL on the tag. Look at this. Boot right to the face as JBL takes control, and woohoo, the crowd's going nuts here as Boston Connor comes in on the tag, charges, takes down JBL with an elbow. Rounds up JBL hard. Forearm takes him down to the canvas. JBL in trouble here as Boston Connor works on the leg of John Bradshaw Layfield. The Toxic Table trying to battle back here, but JBL going for a quick pin. One, two, oh, barely gets it two. Boston Connor finds his way out of trouble here. A rolling elbow across the chest. A second one. John Bradshaw Layfield with a third. Man. John Bradshaw Layfield rounds up Boston Connor. Hard whip to the corner. A cheap shot from DiBiase leaves Boston Connor in a seated position in the corner. And out he comes via the alley-oop from JBL. John Bradshaw Layfield takes himself all the way up to the top turnbuckle. And here we go, another elbow drop that doesn't connect. Boston Connor getting out of the way just in the nick of time here. Whips JBL to the ropes, ducks under. makes the leapfrog and a drop toe hold. Takes JBL down to the canvas. Boston Connor covers, hooks the leg. One. Only one. John Bradshaw Layfield slowly making his way back to a standing position here as Boston Connor winds up the arm, and here's a Russian leg sweep for Boston Connor. Boston Connor definitely steps over. Here's an arm drag. A hard right to the head of JBL. A kick to the midsection and a DDT from Boston Connor. Boston Connor tags in AJ Hawk. JBL struggling to make his way back to a standing position here as AJ Hawk locks him up. Whips him to the ropes. Misses with the shoulder. John Bradshaw Layfield going to make him pay for that mistake. JBL rounds up AJ Hawk. He counters with a kick to the midsection. Moves in. Connects with the shoulder that time. And here comes the $1 Million Man on the hot tag. Ted DiBiase takes him down with an elbow. AJ Hawk rolls out to the floor. There goes Boston Connor again. The $1 Million Man takes himself all the way up to the top rope and drops another elbow across the chest of AJ Hawk. The $1 Million Man probably not used to fan support on this level, but there it is. Neckbreaker to AJ Hawk. The $1 Million Man gathers up AJ Hawk on the outside. Smashes him towards the... Oh, he put on the brakes real quick. $1 Million Man makes his way back inside the ring. So does AJ Hawk. They lock it up. The $1 Million Man has him up in the front cradle. Up over the shoulder. Hung up off the top rope and down he goes. AJ Hawk rounded up again. Ted DiBiase with a spinning neckbreaker. Ted DiBiase rounds up AJ Hawk again. Whips him to the Money Incorporated corner. A hard shot to the midsection on knee. Another and a third. Oh, man. Oh, biting the face of AJ Hawk. And here comes JBL. Hangman Tex Lynch making no apologies for the way these guys work. John Bradshaw Layfield gets a hold of AJ Hawk. Counter whip to the ropes. A head-on collision. They lock up. JBL counter whipped again. A clothesline by AJ Hawk takes down John Bradshaw Layfield. JBL sweeps the leg, takes him down. Here comes the $1 Million Man on the tag. AJ Hawk laid out near center ring. Ted DiBiase nailing that $1 Million Man fist drop as only he can do it. Boom! 3 shots right to the head of AJ Hawk. The $1 Million Man covers, hooks the leg. 1, 2. As close to a near fall as we've come so far in this matchup. The $1 Million Man rounds up AJ Hawk again. Whips him towards the far corner. And now yanking the arm of AJ Hawk against those ropes. Ted DiBiase rounds him up and just Beal tosses him halfway across the ring right onto his back. Ted DiBiase with another spinning neckbreaker on AJ Hawk. Ted DiBiase with a stomp to the midsection. And what are we going to see here? Oh, look at this. Here's a possible submission. Referee Walt Rothburn checking things out. Oh, AJ Hawk almost tapped out. The $1 Million Man releasing the hold and looking supremely confident. The toxic table rapidly losing control of this one. Swing and a miss clothesline from AJ Hawk, followed up by a stomp from the $1 Million Man. AJ Hawk counters with a shot to the midsection, walks up Ted DiBiase. Has him up in the front cradle and just scoop slams him. Basic but effective. And here comes Boston Connor on the tag as the $1 Million Man makes his way to a standing position on the outside apron. Connor goes after JBL, the $1 Million Man, back inside the ring. Boston Connor whips him to the ropes, makes the duck under, makes the leapfrog. Here comes the $1 Million Man, and whoa, look at this. Oh, what a suplex. Belly to back from Boston Connor. Boston Connor snaps the leg of the $1 Million Man. DiBiase back up on his feet, catches a right from AJ Hawk, gets a hold of the trunk, snap suplex center ring. Boston Connor moves in again on the $1 Million Man, drives a knee into his back. Ted DiBiase in a little bit of trouble here as Boston Connor tries to twist his head off like a bottle cap. Slams his head down to the canvas. And now another armbar from Boston Connor. Boston Connor makes his way towards the top turn. JBL says, oh, no, you don't. And down he went, Hangman Tex Lynch. Regarding the fallen Boston Connor as JBL delivers a stomp to the head of Boston Connor, the referee counting Boston Connor. The $1 Million Man turns his attention to AJ Hawk, tags him with a couple of right hands. Turns his attention back to Boston Connor, slams him down to the canvas. And the $1 Million Man definitely makes his way out. Here comes John Bradshaw Layfield again. Boston Connor struggling to make his way to a standing position. JBL gets a hold of him. Locks him up. Hard whip to the ropes. JBL with the duck under. A leapfrog and a clothesline from hell. That's going to be about it right there. Here's a cover. 1, 2, 3, and that is totally a wrap. Money Incorporated V.2 defeats the Toxic Table.
Here's the time, 13 minutes and 56 seconds. And your winners, Money Incorporated V.2.
The only thing you could credit the Toxic Table for would be endurance. It took DiBiase and JBL quite a nice chunk of time to end up winning this match, but they sure did. There's that clothesline from hell from JBL that took out Boston Connor for the 3-count pinfall. As Money Incorporated V.2 picks up a second win, we'll be back with our main event featuring Macho Man Randy Savage, the United States Champion, right after this.